Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the table. I know it's been a while, especially when you're looking at a game like this, Rick and Morty Total Rickall, which was created by MacLeod and published by Cryptozoic Entertainment. Now, we've already covered the tutorial and a gameplay of this, so I thought I'd come back and revisit it to do a proper review on it as well. When we do a review, we look at the game's complexity, its replayability, and then try to assess its overall value. So, let's dive in. The game itself is fairly straightforward. The objective is very simple. Kill all the parasites that are on the table, posing as real-life family and friends, making sure to not kill too many real characters in the process. And as far as episode tie-ins go, for anything related to anything pop culture, this is one of the best tie-ins I've ever seen. It really feels like you're playing out the episode, which, by the way, is Season 2, Episode 4 of Rick and Morty, which I highly recommend checking out if you haven't already done so. But if you're probably watching this video, you're already a big fan of both the show and subsequently the game. Now, the game boasts itself that it's easy to learn, and I would agree with that. My wife and I probably got this game down within 5 to 6 minutes of learning all the mechanics and how to play. And the great thing about a card game like this is that all the mechanics are really set up on the cards themselves to begin with. So you don't have to really worry about too many rules conflicting with cards, and there's not a lot of board mechanics to really get in the way of the gameplay. So it's very straightforward as far as learning the game and playing the game. Even when you start dipping into the advanced mode, which I'll discuss in the next section, the game itself really doesn't change as far as how you play it. Which brings me into its replayability. This game boasts a very high replay value, and not just because I'm a fan of the show and a fan of card games in general, but because of the high chance for randomization. Now, I've said in my other review video for Age of Discovery that you don't need a lot of randomization in order for a game to have a high replayability. But when you're throwing in randomized characters, as well as randomized identities, whether they're parasites or real, you get a really high element of chance, and you really have to change your strategy based on the way the characters are appearing on the board. To make matters worse, if you kill a real character, another character comes in to take its place. So it adds this extra element of chaos, of expanding, of making the game more difficult as you play it. So you really have to play it smart the first time around, or you're going to back yourself into a corner very quickly, and this game could be done with very, very fast. As is the case with most cooperative games, there's a lot of opportunities for you to lose the game, but only one or two maybe clear objectives. And as I mentioned, there's also the advanced mode, wherein other players take on the identity of real and parasites as well. And when you have to now try to kill and control characters on the board, as well as managing other players and killing them, and potentially losing by killing real players, suddenly that turns the game on its head and really forces you to think about where you want to focus your attention, either on the board or against other players. And if you don't keep on top of new characters coming onto the board, you're going to run out of characters really quickly, and you're going to run out of options. So do you get your bang for your buck when you invest in this game? Well, I would say absolutely. This game comes in at a very affordable price of about $17 to $20, depending on which retailer you go with. I always recommend that you check your local game shops first. Those are your best sources for finding what you want at a price that you're willing to pay for it. Not to mention that you also can buy and invest in Anatomy Park, which is often coupled with this game as well. I haven't featured that game on this channel yet. I don't own a copy of it, but if you guys would love to see me play that game, leave a note in the comments below and I'll be sure to get to that. Here's the kicker. You don't need to be a fan of Rick and Morty to really get your value and money's worth out of this game. My wife is not really a fan of Rick and Morty, unlike myself. But you don't need to be a fan of Rick and Morty to really appreciate what this game is trying to accomplish. It's a very simple setup, it's a very simple gameplay, And when you throw in the randomization, you get a lot of replayability out of it, forcing you to change your strategy, as I mentioned earlier. And when you come in at a nice affordable price tag of about, that $17 to $20 mark, you don't feel like you've really wasted any money on a product that is very simple and very enjoyable to play. But let me know in the comments below if there's any other games, of course, as always, you want me to take a look at, do a tutorial on, review. What I'll try to do as well is maybe show a couple of games in future videos and maybe take some votes on which game of the two you guys want me to tackle next. That way you guys don't start shouting out random games that I may not have access to. So be sure to look forward for that. We're always trying to create new content, new vlogs and reviews, gameplay tutorials, all that jazz. So be sure to look out and subscribe, of course, as always. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that social media jazz. I'm active as much as I can be on there as well. And I'll see you guys all at the table next time.